Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Let's see who was here first. Lydia Washington, thank you so much for being here first. There are no prizes, but you get major street cred. Okay, who else is here? TRC Rug, Francilia Mosley, Connie Balmer. Wait a minute, I could do better than that. Connie Balmer! There we go. What? There's a wish list? I had no idea. Isn't that something? Okay. So I'm gonna just scroll all the way down to the bottom. Oh man, I just had some trigger a memory. Oh, thank you, Nadine Palmer, and thank you for being here on Royal Sussex. Okay. All right, so I'll just say hi to everybody else collectively. Make sure there are no super chats or super stickers. And Black Queen is the last person I see to. Oh, there we go. Glendon and Daniels. All right. So that's all the way to the bottom. And let's start. Okay. So I'll take that away. Okay. I'm going to take my face out of here too. There we go. So, oh, wait a minute. Why do I have this up here? There we go. Oh man, how did that get up there? Let me take that away. All right. This is the 16th, right? Okay, yeah, this is the next day. I was getting myself confused for a second there. Okay. And I am live. Okay, yes, you guys can hear me. Sure. All right. All right. Okay, I got confused for a second there. All right, so the coronation, of course, is in chaos. Well, I like this. Royals on the brink. Well, I mean, I'm not saying I like it, but Royals on brink of collapse. That is being a bit of a drama mama, but they're making this assertion about wanting to Charles ahead of historic day. Younger members must take bigger role. And they do, this whole thing about a slimmed down monarchy. I just think Charles did not consider exactly how old everybody would be by the time they slimmed things down. You know what I'm saying? Did he consider the medium age of the family at the time when he decided that he would? Well, actually, at the time when he had this idea about slimming down the monarchy, did you realize exactly how old everyone would be? Let me tell you one of my favorite phrases, the unintended law of consequences. The unintended law of consequences. That's when, let's say, mostly agricultural country becomes a very industrial society. And on top of that, not only do you industrialize the country, but you educate them very well. Okay? Let's use an example like Japan or South Korea or the United States. I remember there was a time, well, I don't remember. I wasn't born yet, but there was a time when most people in the United States lived the agrarian lifestyle, right? Most people worked the land and they could grow the food necessary to feed themselves and the city folk. Well, over time, as the communities built schools and kids were educated, nothing against education, of course. And then, of course, people got a better education. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, people just aren't having that many kids. And then next thing you know, you don't have enough young people to work to provide these social safety nets for the aging population that happened during the baby boom, right? So the same thing is happening with the royal family. You don't have enough younger people to supply enough work, well, should I say enough enough for the royal engagements necessary, right? They're not seen enough, if that's at all believable. You have Will and Kate, Charles and Camilla. Now, out of all of those people, the laziest I found out is actually Camilla. And then, of course, Charles is older, so he's not working as much as he used to. He doesn't get around like he used to. And which is exactly why I use this, because this man is up there. And then, of course, you have Will and Kate, who are notoriously lazy individuals. So that is the Fab Four right there. Okay. Even though I'm sick of that word, Fab Four. You have those four people. Two of them are over 40, right? And then the other two are over 70. And the two that are in their 40s always perform like they were in their 80s. They were outworked by Philip and the Queen. They had more engagements every year. So when Charles decided to slim down this monarchy, when he threatened to kick people out of their grace and favors households recently, when he decided to play around with taking away titles, did he even consider years ago with this slim down monarchy exactly how old everybody would be? Old. And those that weren't so old, they don't have much ambition anyway. So they're in trouble. They shot themselves in their foot. They cut off their nose to spite their very rubbery face by driving the Sussexes away. Could you imagine how much of the heavy lifting that Harry and Meghan would be doing for that monarchy right now, that royal family? And they're not available because they were maliciously driven away, which not only shows a lack of foresight when it comes to Charles, but then the person who's going to take his place, William, is just as ridiculous, just as, I'm trying to avoid saying dumb, but just as dumb, just as ignorant to the fact that they don't have enough people. And the two power players that would have been able to save this crumbling institution. And you know, the more I think about it, and the more I'm listening to other people's conversations, it and I have been saying this for a long time. Okay, let me do this again. And I know you guys have heard me do this before. Well, let me say this one more time. So when Harry met Meghan and they spoke about their dreams and what they like about life, one of the things that probably kept coming up in conversation was philanthropy, helping people, reaching out, community, um, charity. All of those things just kept coming up. Africa, foundations, the United Nations, all of those things kept coming up. And so at the same time, they're digging each other. And then Harry asked the question, will you marry me? Yes, of course I will. And then they meet the Queen. And all this time, they're negotiating with the Queen. What kind of role will she have? And I'm going to do this anyway because I know it just bothers people, but I really do think the Queen was excited because the most important thing for her was the Commonwealth. And so she found in Meghan someone who was looking for the next chapter of her life, someone who was offered through Harry the mother of all platforms, and that is being married to a prince, having a title. Yes, having a title because it's part of the platform. And so, Meghan's like, okay, this is good. I can do the work. And it's just like being able to turn up the volume so more people can hear you. It's not that you weren't doing those things already. It wasn't that you weren't playing the songs already, but you turn it up. Now your neighbors can hear it and some other people can hear it and they can know of the important work and the goals that you have. So I think that's the one thing that brought them together and it just clicked and made sense. And so, Harry has a partner to share these duties with. Meghan has a platform that is, even more amplified than what she had. Win-win for everybody. And the Queen, of course, she can keep her Commonwealth intact. And of course, present to the Commonwealth a woman of color, young, ambitious, hardworking Harry and Meghan. It just seemed like it was too perfect. Obviously, too perfect for the rest of the family because, yes, they were able to outshine the rest of the family. I don't think they set out to do it, but the thing is, because of who they are and because of how hard they work, because, Harry's a problem solver, innovator. Meghan is a problem solver, an innovator, as evident by the Hub Kitchen cookbook. I mean, that was just like that simple thing needed to help keep the place open and even, enhance the place to keep a stream of income coming in. They're problem solvers. That is just something they could not accept in that institution. People who think for themselves. So, well, the Queen, of course, is gone. So there's absolutely no protection whatsoever within that institution. And left to the heirs, Charles and William, there was just no place for them. There was no room for them. And so they moved on. And now Charles Charles and William, they have really, and I do mean this, they really shot themselves in the foot. They thought that they could control Meghan. They thought that they could suppress Harry and hold him there like they did so many other people. And it just wasn't meant to be, which means what? That the institution is no longer viable. It is no longer necessary. In this modern world, people are just not going to put up with the riches and privileges that they have for no good reason. It's just not enough. 66 million people in Britain, and you got two baby boomers and two lazy 40 somethings, and it's going to be at least 10 years before you could put those other kids out there to work. So what will they do? And it's going to be at least 10 years, maybe 15, possibly 20 years before there's another big royal wedding. And as morbid as it sounds, the next big thing is going to be either the king or the queen or both of them dying. That is the only way that they will impress people, the only way they will distract people is to die. Other than that, they have nothing to offer. So it's not my problem. I'm not going to make it my problem, but I'm just pointing out they have really ruined themselves. And so when they say royals on the brink of collapse, yeah, I haven't even seen the article. I don't need to see it. It's already evident. You got an aging population of royals, and just like they couldn't find anybody to marry William, Harry got lucky And as for anyone else that is in the senior royal position, I'm afraid nobody else is going to want it either. Not if they still have these ridiculous expectations that have no place in the modern world. Lane Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker. And let me see. Let me open up another screen because I didn't even see that. Let me open up another screen because I will miss those mileposts. And we definitely don't want to do that. But you guys chime in with your thoughts whenever you can. But I'm just, oh, let me turn that down. And all right. So, yes, I totally missed that, Elaine Parker. Thank you so much. And 19 months. How is that possible? How is that possible? And no, this is not a rum and coke. This is just a Pepsi with ice. Oh, so good. There's nothing that cleanses the palate like a Pepsi or Coke with rum, but I have no rum. Anyway, thank you, Elaine Parker. And did I see a super sticker? Yes, Joan Lawman. Thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Happy Sunday to you. This is, I'm not excited about this or anything, but I am enjoying watching them disintegrate. I am. It does give me a little. It lets me know that it was right to support Harry and Meghan, as I have for these years now. It justifies my belief in them because they had so much to offer, and because of the courtiers and the what do you call it, the tabloid media, and of course above all the ignorance of some of the people in that institution, the family to be precise, they have squandered they have squandered their best asset. And I think the Queen realized that this was just like a prayer answered, because the Queen had to look at Charles and thought, oh my God. That's why the Queen kept hanging in there. All that stuff about tradition and everything, the Queen had to know that at a certain point, that when she was gone, and everybody who's ever looked at Charles, whoever observed Charles, as a matter of fact, I was listening to the lady Sussex today, and she was speaking about something that I had heard before, and it was refreshing to know that somebody else was, paying attention to it as well. And it's just amazing how so many times the lady Sussex like touches on these subjects that I didn't think anybody else was paying attention to. But the Church of England, and Charles there was always going to be this conflict between Charles and the church. Even before he married Camilla, he wanted to be the defender of faith, not the faith, but faith, which puts him into contradiction with the church. The church is the Church of England, not the church of everybody, not every faith, every religion. It's the Church of England, based on the Judeo Christian tenets of the Bible. And he, as you know, he has dabbled in all other sorts of faiths or religion, and to have respect for it is one thing. But if you're going to be the governor of the church, how is that consistent with your future? It's one thing to be tolerant. It's another thing when you want to be a spiritual leader to everyone. How does that work out? Given your position, not just tolerant, but it seems as though he wants to be the leader to defend all faiths. I'm like, this is the Charles that everybody knew was coming. Everybody was aware that Charles III was lying dormant and that he would awaken once they put that crown on his head. And God bless him, he's been holding back for quite some time. You guys haven't even seen the real Charles. I think the only reason why you haven't seen as much of him is because he's old and he's tired. And that's probably a good thing for everybody involved, because it's not to say that it won't happen, but they may have to force him into an abdication, because he is really stretching things, especially putting the mistress on the throne. That was not supposed to happen. So I invite you guys to check out the Lady Sussex, the what is it, Meghan? What is it, Meghan Markle? A real life Cinderella. That is the formal name of the channel. But yes, this is the conversation that has been pretty much going on for a while, is what's happening with that household and how is it going to affect everybody. So, and even if you're not British, it's still one of the dominoes in the Western civilized world, and it is worth paying attention to it. Not the nonsensical parts of it, but the things that directly affect Western humanity. So very interesting. And Charles is like almost like a pawn in this game. And with his relationship to the tabloid media, with his relationship to these, actually William's relationship with the right wing, I'm telling you guys, this is a house of cards that is bound to collapse very soon. Pam Porter said, I agree. She turned over what is that? CW2? What is CW to Harry and his wife? Oh, Commonwealth. And the Queen would have realized Meghan's work ethic and accomplishments were a bonus. Definitely. I mean, even, you know what? And Pam Porter, the tabloids said that. The newspapers, everybody said that at the time. I still have an article that says why you should know Meghan Markle. And this one of the same papers that has been attacking her relentlessly, I forget which one it is, but they were praising her for everything that she had to offer the royal family, everything she had to offer to the Commonwealth, all the experiences that she had had in her life that prepared her for success. The only thing is the people that could take that away, they took it away. They didn't want her to be successful because they couldn't stand the idea that it would make them look dull and useless. About as useful as a glass hammer, all of them. Lottie says the saddest thing about it is that had Meghan doing the work without any pay, God don't love ugly. Well, Lottie, first ladies work without pay. It wouldn't be the first. It's not like there's not a precedence for it, but yeah, that's part of the deal. I mean, if you go into it knowing that you get the satisfaction of doing the work that you love, you really can't put a price on that. So that doesn't bother me so much. But I think the thing is for Meghan, for them to try to like hijack projects that she works on or worked on, like with the Hub Kitchen, they were trying to put that money directly into the Royal Foundation, which would have limited the amount of money that the ladies would have received to keep the kitchen open. And so that is the kind of stuff that I think Meghan rejected. But, you know, pay is one thing, and that is something that is necessary. And if they would have maintained the model that had been set up, where the Sussexes would have um, had funds provided by Charles, who all of a sudden didn't have enough money for Meghan, you know, then that's a wake up call. So, yeah, money does matter. I agree with that. But I don't think that that was really a factor into marrying in the first place. Or not that you're saying it was, but, I get what you're saying, that it is um, providing services without pay. But that's the deal that every first lady in the history of the United States has signed on to. And look at how hard Eleanor Roosevelt worked and received no pay. But some things are a much higher calling than that, and so you have to decide whether or not you're okay with that. And obviously, it was okay. It was the abuse that wasn't okay. But yeah, that is something to think about. Let me see. Ruth Lopez says, "Slim down monarchy. My rear end, the balcony, will be in danger of collapsing from the weight of all the of Camilla's." I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. It doesn't mean that they're going to be allowed on the balcony that day, but we'll see. We won't know until we know. And so far, we've only heard what the papers have said. So all of those things are subject to change, even at the last minute, like when Andrew walked the Queen into the church. Uh, okay, and Andrea Burrow says that's why Charles doesn't like Meghan. She was accepted by Elizabeth so fast that Elizabeth made Charles wait 20 years after he accepted Camilla. Yeah, the Queen avoided Camilla like the plague, really avoided her in the most epic way. And yeah, he forced, you know, he used his leverage as the heir to force Camilla upon the Queen until she just couldn't hide from her anymore or avoid her anymore. But yeah, and I think that, again, just like with Charles, the Queen eventually had been worn down with age, and the same thing is going to happen to Charles. The exact same thing. It is probably happening in real time. I mean, the person who's closest to him is obviously Camilla, and we all know what she's capable of. So, he is very subject to suggestion. Joyce Voss says the Queen knew what an asset with Harry and Meghan was, and that's why they were assigned the Commonwealth. But jealousy is a dangerous thing, and Charles and Willie are finding that out. They That's all I can say is they have really showed how short-sighted they are. They have demonstrated how epically short-sighted they are, because um, it's not a given that the next person or the next person that marries into that family and marries a senior royal is going to be successful. So, man, I could just only shake my head. I hate to see such epic stupidity. And I understand why Harry still believes in the monarchy. Harry is a monarchist. He believes in the monarchy because he knows its potential. It's not that he thinks that any of them are capable of changing it in the present, but if they would lay down their jealousies, their envy, it is an amazing platform that could do a lot of good in this world. But it's the family, the courtiers, the men in gray suits that get in the way. But it's a great platform. It's just you get out of it whatever you put into it. And that's where the problem is. Dorothy Ross says there is two big gaps between old and young to do the work. Yeah, that is as wide as the Holland Tunnel. It is as as big as Mammoth Cave. It's huge. It's huge. And I'm going to be very interested to see how they manage that. I'm going to be very interested to see how they manage this huge space. No, thank you, spam. I'm interested to see how they manage that. Wow, even on a Sunday. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I'm taking a little pleasure in watching um, this unfold. Beautiful Day says Baron Prince Harry said that Princess Meghan could not only do the job, she made it look easy. Therein lies the jealousy of the lazy to Will and Kate. Yeah, yeah, and they want you to believe. They want people to believe that you really have to have something special about you in order to survive doing that work, right? And you really have to have some innate talent, some anointing, and certain everything had to be just right, which doesn't explain this. Working with this is so hard that she doesn't even have a personal assistant right now because nobody wants to do it. Can you believe that? Have you ever worked at a job where it may not have been the most interesting work, but the pay was good, and yet the people just could not seem to grasp the advantages of it, and they move on. I've worked at a job like that before, and I'm just like, you could come in late, you can get as much time off as you need. I mean, it's just like it's amazing the flexibility. And yet, there was some people that would just kind of poo-poo it and just move on. I mean, I couldn't even last the season. I could not believe it. I'm just like, this is too easy. The money is good. No 2 days are alike. Eh. But it just goes to show people could how they say that you could tear down the devil in hell. There's some people that can just ruin anything. But thank you, beautiful day. All right, let me move on to the next slide. But oh man, this is and I got some things to say about the coronation. I got some ideas about that. So uh are you going through something, Vbram? Are you going through something? Do you want to talk about it? Because anytime you see those lyrics, you know something deep is going on. Uh, but yeah, I think I get your point. But thank you for that. That was a nice little old school break to have. All right. Let's see here. Maybe you want some of this rum and coke. I'm kidding. There's no rum in there. Okay. Coronation Chaos Spheres. And then, of course, there was a thing with the book for £8 million. And no, not the book, but the photos of Charles. There seems to have been some conflicting headlines back and forth, right? Let me go to another one right here. Stinge King inside the 87 Unpatriotic Council spending nothing on Charles' coronation, including Charles' own tight-fisted town hall. I guess that's his duchy or something, but I don't know. But this is the thing. Wait. Let me see if I got one more. Yes, there it is. The expectation game. You understand what I mean by that, right? The expectation game. They accepted Meghan until they realized she was receiving more attention than them. There was no way the Queen, Charles, and William would have allowed that. I don't think it was the Queen, though. I don't think the Queen was bothered by the attention. I think it was Charles, William, Camilla, and Kate. I don't think it was the Queen. The Queen did not compete with the attention the way the others did because her position was absolute. So, after all those years, there's no way in the world the Queen would try to compete or feel threatened by Meghan. But Charles, who historically is very fragile by nature and insecure, his track record, of course, being Princess Diana. I mean, there's two ways you can go. You could you can be very secure like Harry and push your wife out front in a receiving line, or you can be like Charles and always go first. And I love the way, if you look at some of those old videos, you would see the way that Diana sometimes she'd be like, the hell with it, and she just go first. And he was somewhat tolerant of it on some occasions, but you can tell he was really fuming about it on other occasions. But Diana would just, she after a while she just did what she felt she needed to do. Um, you have to have a certain level of respect to want me to ever walk behind you. But then again, if you insist that I walk behind you, I probably wouldn't respect you. So there you go. But Charles, being the old school monarchist he is, um, he wanted things a certain way, which just had no place in the modern world. And he's going to find out exactly how wrong he is about everything very soon. Very soon. Thank you for your comment. But yeah, so the expectation game, they are downplaying the expectation of the coronation. You guys, it is going to be, I'm telling you, if you don't feel like watching, don't bother. There will be some protests. They probably will not get as close as they would desire to be. They'll make sure of that, which is why they have shortened the route. But it is going to be uneventful. Charles is not going to fall. Camilla is not going to fall. None of that stuff is going to happen. It is going to be uneventful. They are playing the expectation games because if you assume, if I assume, if everybody assumes that there's going to be some pending disaster, well, that is what's going to make people watch, which is why they needed Meghan to be there, is so that they could have that expectation of intrigue and shade and all of that stuff. That is why they needed Meghan there. So you remove that, then you have to move the expectations to, oh, we're getting the riot police out. Oh, we're going to have troops. Oh, we're going to. That is the expectation game. They are, what do you call it? They're doing the old bait and switch. I don't buy this whole idea that that the coronation is in some peril. I think it's too much at stake, and I don't think they're going to do or allow anything that is going to possibly cost them or cause them embarrassment or something like that. I don't think they're going to take anything for chance because the Met Police are experts at crowd control, and you guys already know that they are phenomenal. There's just some things that they do extremely well, and that is one of them. They have been at it too long. They have more cameras on the streets of London than any place else in the Western world. Everybody is constantly under surveillance in the capital. So I don't think they're going to leave anything to chance. That is part of the expectation game. It's what every presidential candidate does before election day is they start hemming and hawing. BW, 2 months. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Oh, speaking of which, BW, thank you so much for the super sticker and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Sunday to you. Lambert Charles, so glad you're here. Let's see. Baron, how do you reconcile adultery with spiritual leadership? Um, when you consider the history of, what was his name? Edward the Eighth, the Duke of Windsor, when you consider how he fared in this situation, I would say that wasn't so long ago, and there is no way to reconcile that. I mean, even if we don't all do as we're supposed to do according to what the good book says, I always say the closer you stick to the truth, the better. And then, of course, there's always the ability to repent. But Charles is pushing Camilla upon the people. And I'm not singling her out. Both of them are equally responsible for the way they are making a mockery of the Church of England. I mean, sure, most people are not as, um, I guess, religious as they used to be. More people consider themselves spiritual as opposed to religious nowadays. But whatever the case may be, there are certain rules that goes with that church, like most churches, and it just does not allow for that. And as the leader of the church, you're supposed, like the same way they want Harry to make sacrifices, they wanted Meghan to make sacrifices for the sake of the crown. Charles ought to make those same sacrifices for the sake of the Church of England. It's a huge conflict. It's a huge conflict. And he's forcing that upon people. And I think it's very unfair. Marcy Foreman, thank you so much for the super chat. Excuse me. The royal family exposed themselves by jealousy, envy, laziness, and mostly, excuse me, not protecting Meghan. Our Duchess can keep showing them up on the world stage. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you have the fear that someone is going to take your job or someone is going to outshine you in some situation, that is your cue to work harder. So if you don't want to be upstaged by the American with those American values and work ethic, then adapt. That's what you're supposed to do, adapt. Adaptation is the reason why the aristocracy is where they're at, because they did the things that others would not do. So, in this modern age, instead of going after people and killing them, nowadays you're supposed to outwit them and work harder. That's it. We're beyond the days of bludgeoning the enemy. So if you think somebody is outshining you, then step up your game. Okay, thank you so much, Marcy Foreman, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Let's see. Desiree Dotson says, frankly, Charles needs to sit down and let the throne pass to Wills, but he's too selfish for that. Charles needs to sit down and retire quietly in his estate. He's too old to be king. Well, I know a lot of people would agree with you, but just as much as the Queen thought twice about that with Charles, I feel Charles probably knows about William enough to know that that's a bad idea too. William lacks the temperament of an absolute ruler. He certainly lacks the temperament of a constitutional monarchy. Um, it's like going from bad to worse. If you guys remember Schoolhouse Rock, out of the frying pan and into the fire, you tried to cut the sandbags, but the balloon wouldn't go any higher. You can go up to the mountains or down to the sea. You could always say thank you or at least say please. So that's what's going on here. It's out of the frying pan and into the fire, as the old saying goes. So William is just as subject to suggestion. He would travel 1,000 miles for a pulled pork sandwich. What do you think he would do when he's king? So yeah, I don't see that as a sensible answer. They're both unfit. Unfit. Let us not forget William attacked his brother because he needed to be right. He needed to be heard. He needed to be absolute. And anybody who would do that at his age, obviously, it's not fit to rule. So that wasn't just siblings, that was his true nature. William's got problems. Thank you so much, though, Desiree Dotson. I appreciate your comment. Okay. So yeah, that is my theory. There's an expectation game. If you're looking for things to go terribly wrong, that is not going to be the place. I'm just predicting. Now, and I hope I'm kind of hoping I'm wrong. But I suspect it is going to be like clockwork. They've been at it for a long time. And then, in spite of, I'm so sorry, I'm breezing through your comments. There's so many of them here, and I'm sure I'm missing some really good stuff. Trufadilly says, today I feel thankful knowing that Camilla has got her claws in the royal family. You go, girl. You will never see it coming when she finally finishes them. Oh boy, you make it sound like a big cat, like some rapture descending from the sky and taking away. How do they do that? Sometimes they knock the those mountain goats off the side of the mountain, knock them all the way down to the ground. Oh my goodness, they are lethal. Claire Kane, what's up? Happy Sunday. I don't think it was Queen Elizabeth either. I think Camilla and the company started whispering bad things about Meghan to Charles, and he quickly turned. Yeah, I just, it seemed like it makes sense that the Queen played along because she knew that she could not discourage Harry. But I think the Queen saw great possibilities with Meghan, and but the Queen was getting older, and Charles was gathering more authority as the Prince of Wales, and so you can only go against your heir so much. And then I think at a certain point she just retreated into her life, and Charles had a tight rein on everything that happened with the Queen. I'm convinced of that. Charles was in charge. BW, I'm in a great mood today. I'm in Spain celebrating 24 years of marriage tomorrow. Plus, I love this podcast. It's important to keep it going. BW, thank you so much. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. And that you're in Spain. Are you on vacation and celebrating 24 years of marriage, and yet you have time for Royal Sussex? I am absolutely stunned. I'm flattered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There you go. You get that's 24. Okay, 5 times 24. Well, you know what I mean. 5 times 5, 20 plus a light one. That's 24 bells. So there you go. Thank you so much, and happy Sunday to you. And thank you so much for being a member of Royal Sussex. And I'm so jealous. This is the best time of year to be in Spain. The weather, well, at least when I was there 5 years ago, the weather was awesome. And I was told by my friend in Spain, If you're going to come, you got to get here before June, because if you wait until June, it's going to be too hot. So this is perfect timing. Congratulations on 24 years. 24 years. That is impressive. As a matter of fact, there is room to celebrate that. I don't think we've ever had a Royal Sussex anniversary before. So this is a first. I am very, very happy about that. So, with that being said, let me get this going. All right. We are going to celebrate Royal Sussex style. Hello, Ivy here. Hello, Ivy. Girl, the Duchess of Sussex won. Meet me at the Royal Sussex party. Serge Nelly's going to be there. All right, Ivy out. You know what? I have not come down from my high yet. As you know, I really needed that little music break too. So thank you again, BW. Congratulations, and thank you for spending part of your honeymoon with us here on Royal Sussex. Now, I have to tell you, one of my favorite things about Spain are those little sandwiches, the little I didn't even know it was ham. So I don't know if you're kosher or not, but those sandwiches are so good. They're so good. And when you have them in your backpack and the sun heats them up, and then the ham starts to fuse with the bread. Talk about some good eating. So, and now, was those little custard cups in Spain or Portugal? I can't remember. But I ate those things till I almost passed out. And you know what's so weird? As much as I ate on that vacation, I think I lost like 8 pounds because I was doing so much walking. But I ate constantly. So, memories of Spain. Please tell us what part you're in when you have an opportunity. I would love to know. As a matter of fact, for security purposes, maybe not. But wow, I'm thrilled though. I love Spain. Um, if you guys go to Europe, it is more affordable than going to like the UK. It's more affordable. I'll just say that it's more affordable. So, reveal King Charles is now richer than the late Queen with a fortune worth £600 million after making money from Duchy of Cornwall estate and Prudence after £17 million divorce. New estimates on King Charles' wealth suggest a fortune eclipsing his mother's. Monarch is believed to have some £600 million to his name in various areas. Now, this is what's really crazy. So you're having a fit because Meghan was coming. You're having a fit because Meghan won't answer. Then you're having a fit because Meghan ain't coming. And all of those things were used as a huge distraction for the coronation. So if Meghan comes, well, they wasn't booing Charles, they were booing Meghan. If Meghan won't answer, then she's trying to turn people against Charles. And now Meghan's not going. So now we're afraid that there's going to be security issues. So we're bringing in more security forces, etc. I mean, it changes by the minute. Y'all know that. It changes by the minute. Let me see. Lynn E says, I hope Royal Sussex will be broadcasting during the conning of the nation. So we will know. So we, let me see. So we who will not be watching can be entertained. Well, I haven't figured out exactly what time. I think what is it? Start at 11, which is afternoon here, right? Anyway, I will be on. I may even be on twice that day, but during the ceremony, I'm not sure. It may not be much to talk about. So I'm trying to remember, what did I do during the funeral? Yeah, so I'm not sure, but I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on. I'll probably be on twice that day. It's going to be interesting, though. Thank you for asking, though, but it is going to be quite interesting. But again, with the ceremony itself, I think that that is going to be, um, I don't know, pretty blasé. It's going to be a big nothing burger. Just a lot of, as a matter of fact, I don't know what to expect, but it's going to be 2 hours short of what the Queen's was. So about an hour, I think, in and out of the Abbey, and then they're done, and then they'll have the procession back, and then to the reception thereafter, or whatever. So, but yeah, those two old people are going to be exhausted by. Wow, it's almost 2,000 people in here. I didn't notice that. Thanks, Lydia. I didn't even notice that. Okay, so this is what they're discussing. And by the way, you guys, I don't believe it's limited to 600 million pounds. I'm sure it's got to be in the billions, because the Queen had one of the largest, if not the largest, personal art collections in the world. They loan pieces out from time to time. Um, they have 600 million pounds is not enough. Let me see. Sandringham and the grounds, 245 million. Balmoral. Okay, so it is true that some of those properties are Crown estates and are owned by the Crown estate, which essentially means that they belong to the people. And then you have the personal property like Sandringham, like Balmoral, and a few other places that are not part of the Crown estate. And so I don't believe Frogmore is actually part of the Crown estate. It's part of, I'm sorry, it's not a personal possession of the monarch. It is part of the Crown estate. But in perpetuity, all of those things are maintained for the royal family. So, I mean, essentially, it's like you own it, but you don't own it. But Sandringham, they could actually sell that. They couldn't sell Windsor Castle. They couldn't even sell Frogmore. But Sandringham, yes, they could sell that. Balmoral, yes, they could sell that. And interestingly enough, I don't know if you guys had ever heard this before, but there was a big battle with Edward VIII when he abdicated. I mean, he was not a fool. And they paid residuals, not residuals, but they paid installments to them, to the Duke of Windsor, because even though he wasn't monarch, he still owned Balmoral. He still owned Sandringham, and he still owned quite a few things that had to be purchased over time. So not only did they pay the Duke of Windsor a salary, but they also had to repay him a market rate or value or whatever for those properties, because it would be impossible for them to just assume the right to those properties, because as he inherited those properties, just because he wasn't king did not mean that he would give up those properties. So that was part of his portfolio that he had as a going away present when he left the monarchy. And so they At the time, I don't know if it was just that they didn't have enough money to buy it outright or if they were going to siphon the money from the public to buy it. But either way, those are personal possessions of Charles now. And pretty soon they will be personal possessions of William. Well, not so soon, but you know what I mean. 1960 says, Baron, that is so right. Charles and William are both unfit to be king. That is so true. I believe it to be true. I really do. I believe that to be true. Let me see. Hidden Beauty says Charles and William are incompetent and not fit for their positions. Yeah, if you took everything they had from them and you sent them out into the real world without all the contacts and everything that they have, it's no way. Well, you know what? I think uh, Charles is a bit of a has what they would call a romantic disposition. I would say that he would probably fare better than William. William would not survive whatsoever. I'm just saying, based on their personalities, William would probably be driving a lorry if he wasn't born into that family. And Charles would probably work in a haberdashery somewhere. That is how I see it. Let's see. Claudia Blanco says there was a great possibility in a short time of living in that hell we all call the monarch family. Meghan managed to influence and accomplish more than the entire family. That is true. That is so true. Meghan has been able to do these things without using a birthright. Plain and simple. She didn't have to rely upon a birthright. If Meghan was a money hungry type of person, as they tried to portray her as greedy and a social climber, given her education and given how attractive she is, she could have definitely have married for the money, but she didn't marry Harry for the money. He didn't have any money. Having money in a trust and living in Notcott, the Nottingham cottage, did not inspire a whole lot. But what he had plenty of was drive and intelligence. He had a vision for himself, and then, of course, when she came along, what was the big project in his life? The Invictus Games. Now, how could you see someone like Harry um, building up the Invictus and not find find some spark in him that says, he's a bit rough around the edges, and yes, there's that reputation, but there's something more to him. And I tell you, when you get it right, you get it right, and she got it right. There was a lot more to him, as evident by the fact that he has made this transition into the United States and has been working continuously. Do you guys remember? Thank you, Claudia. Do you guys remember when I was so worried about Harry stretching himself too thin? I mean, that really bothered me. I'm just like, he's doing too much. How does he manage his time? That really, really bothered me. But knowing when to delegate, knowing how to delegate, how to release authority to someone who is capable, having someone manage things properly, hiring talented people. I mean, like what was her name? Mandana was it Mandani Dayani, the one that they hired to manage the Archwell, right? She came in to manage the Archwell. Was it the production or the foundation or both? But she came in to manage, and I mean, look at how well Archwell is doing right now. And dare I remind you guys again, maybe I say it too much, but Harry and Meghan's new foundation that opened during the midst of a global pandemic has outperformed the Clinton and the Obama Foundation, has outperformed them in that short period of time. They have outperformed 4 Ivy League graduates, 4 attorneys, lawyers, right? With the Clintons and the Obamas, you have not one, not two, but four Ivy League graduates, a Rhodes Scholar, a double Ivy League graduate. I mean, you have some really big brains there. And uh, Meghan and Harry's foundation has outperformed theirs. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm very proud. Every time I think about that, I mean, my chest just fills with pride. It really does. I'm so proud of them for having achieved that. And it's not a matter of trying to compete, it's just a matter of fact that even in the midst of a global pandemic, they were able, as Meghan would say, hit the ground running and really kick off something fantastic. So I am very proud. Um, that's it. That's it. I'm just feeling proud. Oh man. Let's see. Mary H says, "Well, Baron Charles deep down respect Duchess Meghan. After all, she's the only one he can have an intelligent conversation with. Think about Camilla or Kate Middlebaum." Yeah, like Harry said, Charles got a little excited talking to Meghan. You know, I couldn't even venture to guess what kind of conversations that he has with Camilla. I just picture her reassuring him a lot and trying to stroke his ego, if you will. But with Meghan, you have someone who has truly lived a life that is very commendable. I mean, you put yourself through school and you know all these world leaders and stuff without a title, so it's something to be impressed about. I would be impressed to see Megan's Rolodex. I would be really impressed because I'm sure there's a lot of people there that you wouldn't expect to see, and yet there they are. So, and I think the big secret to Megan's success is she's a letter writer. She writes notes, letters. Anybody who lives a big life, anybody who has access, if you will, they tend to be people that write notes, write thank you notes, write letters. It has a greater impact on people than phone calls and text messages. So it's the proper, sensible thing to do when you want to show a person a proper amount of respect. Remember that. Go and get yourself some note cards today. Okay. And so there is our Sussexes walking into St. Paul's, walking down that same aisle where Princess Diana walked when she married him. And all these years later, there's Harry and Meghan. Harry is looking like say something, and I love that look on Harry's face. Now what? Now what? But yeah, I mean, it's the control that they have over those people's brains, living rent free inside of all of those heads. This is like one of my favorite photos, by the way. This is like one of my favorites. It's that's power, that's influence. As much as they hate to admit it, um, so much of what they think, feel, and do day after day revolves around Harry and Meghan. As much as they would hate to admit it, but that is the eye of the storm, if you will. Hey, Lauren Brown. Let me see. Baron, let's not forget Harry has international renown that could help him to expand with the right support, which he got from Meghan. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think they uplift and build each other in ways that is absolutely ideal, perfect. They complement each other so well. And what impressed me about them is that whether they're together or separate, it doesn't take any shine off of a situation. It takes absolutely no shine off a situation. Nobody sees Harry coming down the street and say, "Oh, Meghan's on the other side." Nobody sees Meghan coming down the street and say, "Oh, I really wanted to see Harry." But that is how it was for Charles and Diana, is that Charles was a big disappointment to people, and he could hear people murmuring how disappointed they were that Diana was on the other side of the street. He heard that so many times. Could you imagine that? He heard that so many times. I bet you his ears turned like a crimson uh, red. I bet you they were just pulsating with frustration. Thank you so much, Lauren. Let me go here. And I'm going to take a look at a couple of more of your comments. Edith, haven't heard from you for a while. I used to believe that the death of Lady Diana was an accident, but from what I am seeing from the treatment of Meghan, it has made me change my mind. Well, like I say, died mysteriously in a tunnel in Paris. Died mysteriously. I do not believe the coroner's inquest. I think it opens up more questions than answers. And I'm sure there's a lot of people. It's like I heard one time, do you think that the institution would actually accept a Muslim stepfather for the future king of England? I mean, when you hear that come out of your mouth, when your ears pick that up, it is enough to make you go, ugh. But think about it. Think about it. So, no conspiracies concerning the firm directly, but there are enough people in this world who were bothered by having um, ancestors of African descent in the family. Could you imagine how they feel about having, how they would have felt about having a Muslim stepfather for the future king of England? As much as Charles goes to the Middle East and plays, what's his name, Lawrence of Arabia. Have you seen him dressed up as Lawrence of Arabia? He loves to do that. Well, Charles dressing up like Lawrence of Arabia doesn't mean that the institution is tolerant of people of a different faith, whatever he says. So thank you so much, Edith, and happy Sunday to you. So, oh my goodness, 2,037 people? Good grief, what is going on? Remainers and Young want Harry and Meghan at Coronation poll finds. Well, I shouldn't be surprised about that, because if you look at a couple of these old things I posted up here, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle voted most respected royals after the Queen by young people. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have been voted by the young people of Britain as the most respected royals after the Queen in a survey led by, what is that, STEM 4, a charity that promotes positive, and by the way, this is from 2021, I think, positive mental health in teenagers. 26% of the 1,032 individuals polled between the ages of 13 to 25 voted for Queen Elizabeth, and as most respected royal followed by the Duke of Sussex, who got 21%. And of the votes, Prince William Kate came in 11% of the votes. According to the voters, Meghan and Harry are admired because they are brave and resilient. And even when things go wrong, they carry on. Well, there you go. So, and gosh, I don't know who. I think it was Petal. Was it Petal? Somebody was no, it wasn't Petal. I take that back. I don't know who it was, but someone had said that Harry usually polled close to the Queen, and I actually had that one of those polls, and I neglected to add it today. But yeah, it said that Harry was like, I think 2 or 3 points above the Queen. So he wasn't just close to the Queen. Harry used to poll above the Queen. And I'm talking about not just among the young, but by the entire population. What changed that was the hate campaign. So, as much as I would love to say that what the tabloids have been doing makes no difference, it has made a great deal of difference because they have relentlessly attacked the Sussexes to such a degree that it is really unsafe for them to be in the United Kingdom. So, um, I mean, people are pretty hostile, and I don't blame the people en masse because of the way they feel, because it's like I've followed presidential politics for years, and by the like Barack Obama said it. Barack Obama said, if I read the stuff that people said about me and I didn't know anything about me, I wouldn't like me either. He said I would not like me as a person if I was bombarded by all of that negativity day after day after day. Thank you, Lauren Brown. I'm showing my age now. And by the way, one of our presidents was a haberdasher. Um, what's his name? Independence, Missouri. Um, Harry Truman. He used to run a haberdashery. Okay, before he was elected to Congress and then president after Roosevelt died. So, right here, it's almost like a personality disorder. Harry and Meghan are told to stay away from the coronation. And then it turned into Meghan Markle snubbed King Charles because she couldn't face being booed. But then at the same time, don't forget, they were running polls asking people, are you going to boo Harry? Are you going to boo Harry and Meghan? If you see them, are you going to boo? And then, of course, if you hadn't thought about it, by the time they got through putting all that together, duh, I didn't know that was an option. Well, thank you, tabloids, for putting that on the table. So, and then there's, of course, this. This is the ideal compromise. Experts say royal family will be relieved Meghan is not attending King Charles' coronation, and leaving Prince Harry to go alone as her presence would have been particularly uncomfortable for Kate and other senior royals. Oh boy, there we go. We have to protect the English rose. Oh, we got to protect the English rose. Whatever you do, it's like one of those horror movies. It's amazing how many people died to protect the blonde in those horror movies. You ever see that? Where you got like a whole police department wiped out because the hero was trying to save his blonde that he only just met. I forgot what movie that was, but he sacrificed friend after friend, a couple of family members to protect that blonde that he wasn't even married to. Well, the same goes for the English rose. The extent in what people would be willing to do to protect the English rose is extraordinary. And of course, when you consider that Kate seems to be the subject of so many of these articles about whether or not the Sussexes are actually coming to the coronation, you would wonder how Kate felt about it. Well, of course, we here at Royal Sussex reached out to the newly minted Princess of Wales for comment, and this is what she had to say.
Obviously, it'd be, I would love to have met her, and she's obviously she's an inspirational woman to look up to, obviously to this day, and going forward and things. it is, it's a wonderful family. The members who I've met have achieved a lot, and very inspirational. So yeah, I do.
Sorry about that. I forgot to put the sound back on. So let's say, I know the shade, the shade, the shade. Let's say you have an aging empire, right? One that used to rule the seven seas, one that used to rule the world. As they would say, the sun never set on the British Empire. Riches like no other society in the world had ever known, right? And then suddenly there is a war between cousins, like Kaiser Wilhelm and what was it, George the, was it the fifth or George the fourth? Anyway, and of course the Tsar. You have a world war. The old empires going at it. And just for fun, you throw the Republic of France in there and a couple of other places. And next thing you know, Europe is in shreds, right? Mechanized warfare, World War One. Chemical warfare, World War One. And even using planes for reconnaissance during the First World War. Only for the Second World War to destroy everything. And in the wake of that, the British Empire is no more. There's a new kid on the block. The United States of America has become the sole superpower. And of course, eventually Russia, not Russia, the Soviet Union. But anyway, that's enough of that history lesson. So, oh, by the way, Carolita Simone, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. So, anyway, oh, got a brand new member, all for Sussexes. Thank you so much for becoming the newest member of Royal Sussex. Happy Sunday to you. Okay, so where was I at? Dwindling empire. So nothing is like it used to be, and you're forced to reinvent yourself. But one thing that you have come to depend upon is what they refer to as the special relationship. That is the relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom. Not necessarily in that order, but the two countries, the mother tongue, the motherland, the United Kingdom. We have been friends forever. Well, as a matter of fact, our first ally was actually France, who provided weapons to kill as many of the British as possible. But what's a few guns between friends, right? So, fast forward to 2023, and one of the places that was oppressed by Britain, by the English, oh, Mary Hiker, good night. Thank you so much. I didn't know you were here, but thanks for being here. Um, okay, Ireland. So Ireland is now a republic after a hard fought battle to gain independence from Britain. However, I believe it was Charles II. I think it was Charles II, or was it James the third? Anyway, one of the kings actually planted as many Englishmen into Ireland as possible to try to throw off the balance of power by making it more Protestant than Catholic. But you all know that, right? And so that's why you have so many people living in Northern Ireland that are Protestants and Catholics, is because, they were trying to plant them there like seeds to make sure that the Irish would not rebel against the British, but eventually that happened anyway. And it's the same with Ukraine, Russia. I think it was Catherine the Great. She kept sending a lot of Russians into Ukraine so that Ukraine would become increasingly more favorable to Russia and give up the idea of independence. That never worked either. So, anyway, you would think that with so much lost over the years, with so many people becoming enemies, and the world waking up to how awful empire has been, you would think that you would want to still have some friends that are in high places, like, I don't know, Joe Biden, president of the United States. And they have been attacking him. And I said this some time ago, that they have an end for Joe Biden. And so they could not contain themselves, even though a trade deal is one of the best possible things to help Britain nowadays. Trade deal with the United States, who begged them not to vote for the Brexit, because it would put the United States in an awkward position. But they did it anyway. And so here you have Camilla Tominey with one of the longest faces. I mean, you would have to go to Royal Ascot to find a face longer than hers. The last time I saw a face that long, I think they had just won the Triple Crown. Very long, long, and always up in somebody else's face, intrusively long, large face, large head, but yet small mind, very small mind, and totally obsessed with the Duchess of Sussex. And here are the signs: scrunched brow, pursed lips, tight jaw, crazy eye. That's how you know when a person is obsessed. Also, they tend to lie and say you said things that you never said. That's the face of obsession right there. So she says here, Biden has greatly diminished America's role in the world. Britain doesn't need him. Under Sleepy Joe's watch, a new world order appears to be busily capitalizing on his ineptitude. Now, that is coming from Camilla Tominey, an expert on international relations and royal gossip, which is interesting. How can you be an expert on international relations and yet allegedly taking calls from senior royals at any given time? It sounds like a bit of a contradiction, but yet that's never stopped her. So she's wearing two hats, not because of the size of her head, but just because of the work that she does. I would have never known that this gossip columnist and royal author was capable of managing international relations. But then again, there you go. She is a lesson of contradictions. So she says that the 80-year-old Sleepy Joe, which is one of the tropes that is used by the right wing. Oh, wait a minute. She is right wing. As a matter of fact, Camilla Tominey has been spending time with the Heritage Foundation. You know, the people that are trying to get Harry removed from the United States, questioning his immigration status. One thing I'm going to tell you about immigration: there's immigration, and then there's rich people immigrating. Okay? Rich people got lawyers and sort these things out. That's all I have to say about that. So, Biden in brutal dig at Britain as he celebrates Macron and France, our oldest ally. Didn't I just say that? Our oldest ally, Joe Biden, has made a veiled dig at Brexit Britain as he congratulates Emmanuel Macron on his re-election as France president and has pledged the two leaders will work together defending democracy. Now, what's excluded from that is Britain. Brexit Britain is excluded from that. Now, this is what's so funny about this. When I was prepping today, do you know I forgot I had saved this from April 26th of 2022? I don't know why it was so important. I guess I must have said something about them picking on Joe Biden. But here I am a year later, and I'm still telling people that they won't stop picking on Joe Biden. And I'm just sick of it. Do you hear me? Sick! I'm sick of it. Leave Joe Biden alone. Have some respect for the President of the United States, who I proudly and gladly and will definitely vote for again. But instead, the British tabloid media and people within the government, they are going after a duly elected president of the United States and trying to make trouble for him, especially because he did not want to go to the coronation. As if any president has ever gone to a coronation. Oh, thank you, Reba Henderson. That's helpful. Yeah, Meghan's niece, Ashley Hale, is an immigration lawyer. See it, say it, sort it. Thank you. Joe Biden, a career politician who entered the United States Senate back in 1871. They have been watching him so closely, as I've said for a while, that they noticed that he didn't put the Union Jack on his limousine, not even when they were in Northern Ireland. Joe Biden in Northern Ireland just used the presidential flag. And when he was in the Republic of Ireland, he used the Irish flag, the Republic of Ireland tricolor flag. And yes, I would say that is possibly a snub. Hello, Jael. Glad you're here today. I would say that's probably a snub, but you keep messing with him. Oh, I'm sorry, 1776. Thank you so much for that. What did I say? 1876. Okay, I stand corrected. So there's Dan Wooten, another authority on international relations. Biden planning to snub the coronation of King Charles III tells you everything you need to know about one of the worst presidents in modern history feels about the United Kingdom. One of the worst. Then who is the absolute worst? Oh, I know. It would have been Trump. As a matter of fact, I say Joe Biden is one of the most capable and one of the best presidents that we've had in modern times. So that's just my opinion. He's delivered on a whole lot of things, more than I care to talk about right now. But whatever you think, and see, look at this, the Telegraph. Aides close to Joe Biden are keen to restrict his international movements to avoid him becoming too tired to perform his domestic duties. Too tired? Too tired. The man just went on vacation to Ireland. He's energized. Now, if you guys saw the video from yesterday with Joe Biden in Ireland having the best night of his life, that was the biggest crowd that he's ever attracted in all these years. He's never had a crowd that big, but he did. And he was magnificent. They treated him with the respect that they did not show him when he was in Northern Ireland. So is there any wonder that he, you know, was in a different mood when he was there? So yeah, I mean, Joe Biden is taking care of his business, and even though they sent that little flunky to try to get his attention, I'm pretty sure Joe Biden is still trying to figure out who the hell that is. But I love the shade. I'm living for it. It's what the Tories deserve right now. It really is. It's what they deserve right now. So they are being very disrespectful to Joe Biden. So when Joe Biden got off of Air Force One, instead of talking to Rishi Sunak, he went directly to the man in the uniform who was there on behalf of the sovereign. Then he asked Rishi Sunak to hold his coat, right? That's the order it should be. But this is just appalling. And then this right here, sources close to Biden insist to the Telegraph that his relationship with Charles was strong and made make time to meet with him in a visit to Northern Ireland. Well, Charles didn't come to Northern Ireland, did he? President Dwight Eisenhower did not attend Elizabeth's coronation in 1953. Historically, it was considered diplomatic not to send a figure who would overshadow the monarch being crowned. And believe me, Joe Biden is quite capable of overshadowing. Well, let me put it to you like this: this was Ireland the other night, so um, Biden doesn't do anything by halves. He doesn't have to. He's the president. Okay, so shamelessly parading his disgraced son and taking selfies with accused terrorists and so on and so on. Now, this is something that's interesting. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but this is the Irish president's office, and this is the Oval Office, the president's office. I just thought this was so cool. I mean, it is just a mess, and I love it. This just goes to show you that he actually gets some work done. This is a ceremonial office. The president actually has another office. This is only used for ceremony. This is not where the president conducts work. So, but you know what, guys? If you are British, and let's say on the odd chance that you are concerned about the special relationship, let me show you something. You see that desk right there? It is called the Resolute. And that desk was actually made on the orders of Queen Victoria because the United States rescued a ship that was set adrift near the Arctic Circle, and they returned it to the British. And so the ship was, of course, a bit damaged and worse for wear. So the ship was decommissioned, and Queen Victoria requested that the wood from the ship would be used to create a desk as a gift to the President of the United States. And of course, the name of the ship was the HMS Resolute. So that is where that desk comes from. And that's what almost every president has used, including Kennedy. All right. So Leg says UK royal rotor, British royal family can't get over rejection. They reject the idea that people want the honor to be in their presence. They needed our help in World War I and II. What have the U.S. gotten in the special relationship? Fair point. Fair point. Well, I'm going to just say this. I won't take that relationship for granted. The United States had the Marshall Plan, which helped to rebuild the economy of Europe after the Second World War. But that plan also made the United States very, very wealthy by having permanent trading partners. The big mistake for the Brexit is that it puts the British and the European Union in direct competition with one another. And since the European Union is larger, and what is it, about 500 million people to trade with compared to 66 million people, I mean, the math is easy. You're going to go with the European Union first, which is the warning that was given. So now, because of Brexit, unfortunately, Britain has to renegotiate a bunch of trade deals with everybody. And who's paying the price? The working class people, the people who don't have decent, affordable housing, the nurses that can't get enough pay, the doctors that are leaving to go to better jobs. All of those people are the ones paying the price because of the likes of Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage and all those people. So it's unfortunate. Biden did not cause that problem, but they're trying to blame him. They're shifting the blame away from the idea of Brexit, and they're putting the responsibility on Joe Biden and the Democrats. But that's not your enemy. Your enemy are the people who convinced you that Brexit was a good idea. That's just the truth. It was a bad idea, ill-timed, ill-conceived, and now, unfortunately, a lot of innocent people are paying the price for the fear and panic of too many brown people. That's what it boils down to. So thank you so much, Legs. Great point. And thank you so much for the super chat. So there you go. Biden's best night, best day ever. Got a little sound bite for you guys. Jobo has been at it again, grunting, panting, sweating. That's our Jobo. So let me get that for you.
Right in the book about when they try to force that Fab Four thing on us during the Queen's death, you know, that sort of fake walkabout when they're supposed to be together, that Kate said to another member of the royal family that it was one of the hardest things she ever had to do. Now, then immediately on Twitter you get all those Sussex troll idiots saying, well, you need to get out more if that's the hardest thing she ever done. You know, but, you know, the point of it is that it was a very difficult.
Oh my God, did he have the same English teacher as Camilla? No, not Camilla, as Kate. He had the same English teacher that Kate had. Now, I'm pretty sure you don't know what the hell he just said, because in between grunting and farting and sweating, he did say something. So let's try that again. But you got to listen closely between all the grunts and the farts and the sweat. Okay, one more time. One more time. Okay, here we go.
Right in the book about when they try to force that Fab Four thing on us during the Queen's death, you know, that sort of fake walkabout when they're supposed to be together, that Kate said to another member of the royal family that it was one of the hardest things she ever had to do. Now, then immediately on Twitter you get all those Sussex troll idiots saying, well, you need to get out more if that's the hardest thing she ever done. You know, but, you know, the point of it is that it was a very difficult.
Obviously, it'd be. I would love to have met her, and she's obviously she's an inspirational woman to look up to. Obviously, to this day, and you know, going forward and things. You know, it is. You know, it's a wonderful family. The members who I've met have achieved a lot, and you know, very inspirational. So, yeah, I do.
Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe that's just something that posh people do. You say a lot and then you don't really say anything at all. I guess that's like a posh trait. So you can tell a person is really posh when I don't know. I did not understand what they were saying. They said something. I mean, I know I heard something, but I know. Did you hear it? Sweating and panting and well, that's our Jobo. So right here, it's no secret that certain courtiers briefed against Meghan and Harry, and it's no secret who who they were representing. Everyone in the press knew. So I fully expect all that to be in their Netflix documentary. Okay. And then over here, the Meghan is a bully story straight from KP, carefully timed. Every bad Meghan story ever leaked came from KP, making Kate cry, KP, etc., etc. Don't be naive here. You don't have to, you don't have to have a side to see what's been going on. So this is from Catherine Phillips. I don't know what the heck she does, but I had found this receipt while I was preparing for today. So I thought I would share it again. And as you can see, it says 12/7/22. So that was from last December, which makes sense because we were waiting for the book to come out January the 10th. So there you go. And that is the little factoid that most people know to be true. People wouldn't go on the record saying that the leaks were coming from inside the house if it were not true. We can say this because we know it to be true. And then, of course, you have Dan Wooten, who even confirmed it by saying it's much easier for them to blame anything uncomfortable on racism rather than address the fact that the negativity towards them was coming from within the royal family. The calls are coming from inside the house, right? In that very sinister voice of his. It was true then, and it's true now. And Harry made it official that that was his stance, his disposition about the matter when he wrote Spare, and also thanks to the docuseries, both of which confirmed what we all have known, and that is the fact that they have been briefing against the Sussexes. And so, you guys, anytime they try to gaslight us into believing, well, not us, because we know better, but they want to win over the public with this idea that the Sussexes are, what is that? The figment of their imagination is running away with them and nobody's after them. It's only because she's an American. It's not racism, or she was a bully and all those things. None of that stuff bears any resemblance to what the reality is. They try to say that it's not one thing, it's the other, and other people just deny that any of it is true. But here's what the truth is. They were briefing and they are still briefing. They have been continuously briefing against the Sussexes. Harry said that we waited a year and didn't say anything. And then when we went on the Oprah Winfrey show, we were hoping to put a lot of that to bed by letting them know the impact of what has been going on with our family. Meghan's, thoughts about things, and of course, the stripping away of security, exposing their location and such. All of that came out either with the Oprah Winfrey interview or with the docuseries. And from one year to the next, they didn't say a word. And then from that year to the other, they finally began to speak back. And at every turn, the royal family had the possibility, had the ability to stop leaking, but they won't stop leaking. So if you won't stop leaking, then you have to target the press and you have to expose the family. You have no choice. The Sussexes are doing what they have to do because as long as they're alive, they will never leave them alone. That's just the way it is. As long as they're living, they're never going to leave them alone. Cypher Vid says, great points, is it? Economists saw straight through Brexit and those leaders who have an agenda to replace the US dollar, is it, as the gold standard. Poor Brits were bamboozled into championing ethnocentrism. Now that is quite a word, so I'm going to try to dissect that one. That's like being nationalistic, right? No. Nationalistic is when it's only for the country. So that's ethnicity centered around one race. So, in other words, white folks that are British, that is where all of these problems start and end. I believe that is 100% accurate. So, yeah, that's what it is. The fear of brown people. And then, of course, they have this thing called British exceptionalism. And I think the idea of the British exceptionalism is you convince people that by virtue of being British, that you're part of the greatest society that has ever been. No matter how poor you are, you're still better than other people that are being successful and living their best life. So if you're British, and let's say you're cash strapped, you're spent, you have no money, you are still happier and still better than anybody in Finland or Denmark or any of the other places where they say is the happiest places on earth. And of course, you're better than an American. All of those things are supposed to be true, when the truth is you're paying too much for fuel, you're paying too much for rail service, you're not getting back enough for your taxes. So it's a fool's errand to believe that there's something exceptional going on because the Tories are in power and that they are bashing the president of the United States, that they are plotting against the European Union, is silly. It's not going to win the day. It's not a winning proposition. The best thing to happen would be get back into that European Union, hope you get a comparable trade deal, and stop being a paper tiger. Stop punching above your pay grade. That's the only thing that makes sense. And make the royal family redundant. That would help. You know, I'm not saying get rid of the royal family, but Charles has more than 600 million pounds. Charles is a billionaire, just like William is now a billionaire, and everybody knows it. And I don't mean a billion, billions. They have a lot of money, a lot more than they could spend in a lifetime. And for what? It's not being used to protect people. So, you know what? I was looking through receipts yesterday, right? Now, do you guys see the date on this? I said I went through receipts. Look at the date. Look at that date. And look at some of the headlines. Do you guys recall that, was it just yesterday, was it? Or the day before yesterday, when they spoke about the 44 stories in the Express in one day? This is why it's important to keep receipts. I forgot I had this. I totally forgot I had it. And then when I was looking through, trying to do some research, then I found it. I'm like, hot dog, this is not the first time this has happened. You know, there's so much that happens, you tend to forget one thing or the other. But this is just like the story that came out yesterday. Isn't that something? We've been here before. We have been here before. Last year we were here. So it is breathtaking. It is breathtaking. Such is the power of the Sussexes. And this is why I say I want them to be billionaires, because if these people are making that much money from all of this clickbait. So this was yesterday. This is yesterday. Daily Express, 24-hour period, right? Those are the same, but I made it bigger on the right so you could actually see it. All the stories below attacking Meghan mainly and Harry quite a bit appeared on the Express website within the last 24 hours. 44 biofield rants in just one day. That's a pace of 16,000 attacks a year. TR C-Rugs, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And then, of course, let's go back over to this one. So this was August the 17th. There was 28 stories in the Sun, and I'm sorry, TR, I got to pull this away so I can see it. And 50 stories in the Daily Express. 50 stories, not 44, 50 in the Daily Express. August the 17th, 2022. And the Daily Mail, 31. So within a 24-hour period last August, 31 stories in the Daily Mail, 28 in the Sun, and 50 in the Daily Express. And like I said, I forgot I had these. This was just something I had held on to just in case I needed it. And guess what? I needed it because it is part of the narrative. It is part of the history. And this is what they're capable of. And they are making a lot of money. That's why this is $1 billion industry. Trolling, harassing, berating Harry and Meghan. Targeting their family is $1 billion industry. And this is why I say I want them to be well compensated for everything that they're going through. I would prefer that it stops, but you and I both know that it won't. Royal, let's see, what is that? Royals, okay, no, I'm sorry. Royal Style Watch. Buckingham Palace's no response to the media policy seems puzzling. While there were 246,525 articles written about Markle between May 2019 and April 2020, according to the digital PR agency Blanc. There were far less articles written about Kate Middleton and Prince Andrew during the same period of time, with 96,460 on Middleton and 72,125 on Prince Andrew. Yet the palace and its team felt compelled to defend both Kate and even Andrew, while Meghan Markle was never defended. Markle, it seems, had to look the other way because these articles were not as important. Again, I forgot I had these. And August 17th, that was the date that I saved it. So it may have come out a couple of days before that, but that was the date that I took notice of it and that I saved it. So I had to look at the date in which I saved that file to know exactly when I actually received it. And that was it. So in that time, 246,525 articles about Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. They're making money, you guys. They are making money from Harry and Meghan. They have made money from the misery that they have caused, for the relationships that have been lost. They've made money. The security that the Sussexes have had to hire because of the lies and innuendos, the half-truths, no truth at all, they have made a lot of money. They have talk shows that are dedicated to Harry and Meghan. If you want loose women to make money, talk Harry and Meghan. If you want some of the American morning shows to get people to stick around after commercial break, just make sure that you're going to tell them something about Harry and Meghan. And this is something that I didn't realize I had. Well, the past few days, we have been talking about the crown jewels and missing jewels, right? Well, I found that one on the right side, which I wanted to make sure that it was real because I don't remember where I got it from, but I saved it for some reason. Frown jewels, nice wordplay. Meghan is banned by Queen from using Di's gems. And so I don't know whether or not that's true, but I do know that little weasel, Dan Wooten, put it out there. I should have known that this was a Dan Wooten story, but I wasn't sure. But when I went to make sure, I had to vet it to make sure that it was true. That was an article. That is true that it was an article because sometimes people doctor these front pages. So I had to make sure that it was real, and it is. And Dan Wooten claims that some senior palace source, as a matter of fact, let me find it. There it is. It is true that Buckingham Palace did not want all the items in the royal collection to be opened up to Meghan at this time. Signed, Senior Royal Insider. I cannot think of who that might be. I cannot think of who might be a senior royal insider, someone in constant contact, according to Prince Harry, constant contact with people in the media, in the right-wing media industrial complex. I could not think of who that might be, but apparently there has been somebody flapping their wrinkled mouth about it, and well, we don't know that it is her, but you know what I'm saying. Lydia says a generous squatty has has an extra book to donate. Can a squatty in need of a copy of Spare email you their address? Yeah, U.S. address only, you guys. Yeah, so whoever's the first one to email will get that book. So let me see. Did you want to put the email up? Because I always have to take a look and double check it. Well, I'll take a look right now. So yeah, you guys, if you don't have a copy of Spare and you desperately would like to have one, not have a second one, but to have one, please email me right now. I'm looking for it, but if you want to try to find it yourself, you'd have a better chance of getting it. Let me see. I think I know what it is, but I want to double check. This is not my regular email, so that's why I always have to double check. Sorry about that, you guys. But I am going to open it up right now to see who emails me first, and that is the person who wins a copy of Spare. And so far, no one has. So I am going to take the email right now. If Lydia hasn't done so already, I'm going to pop it up there right now. There it is. Royal Sussex channel. Now, you would think I would remember that, right? But see, I don't know what's uppercase and lowercase. I can't remember that part of it. So if you are the first person to hit me with an email, you will get that book. You will get that book. And you will be the envy of everyone in town because you have a brand new copy of Spare. So, handle your business. Let me see here. I'm going to post that to the top of the chat. Now, what did I do with it? Oh, that is okay. I see it. Okay. All right, I'm pinning it to the top of the chat. So whoever gets it first, I'm going to check in a minute, you guys. I'm going to check it in a minute. Oh, somebody's already gotten through. I don't want to say the name unless you want me to, but LM is the initials. LM. And they even included a phone number. So LM, we really just need a mailing address if that's possible. I love this. I want it LM. Yes, LM, you have to be in the US and we need a mailing address if that's possible. So that's it, you guys. We already have a winner. LM is the winner. Okay. Wow. And nobody else has tried to get through. So that's the only one I see for now. So LM is the winner. Congratulations. And please leave an address so we can forward that book to you. And there you go. And I will give the address to Lydia. And then we'll take it from there. All right. Thank you very much. See what I love about the squad? This is what I love about the Sussex squad. All right, you guys, take a look at your screen right now. And thank you, Lydia, for the message, the super chat. You can notice the photo. I chose that photo for a reason. Because as you know, a lot of things that are done in the media are done for the worst possible effect. And that is to create fear and panic and apathy. Well, here you have Meghan living her best life with child on the Oceania tour with diamond earrings that were selected for her, larger than earrings that she would normally wear. But, you know, she's trying to represent the royal family. Now, the other thing is they told her that she could not wear a tiara, even though they usually wear tiaras when they have visits like this, but she was told that that wouldn't be required because, well, as you know, they didn't want to share anything with her. So if she wanted to, she couldn't. Okay, fine. And then, of course, if you look between the two photos, what do you see? You see that there is a Middle Eastern guy, a wealthy, menacing person of Arab descent. So you got 3 negative things going on. You have 2 images of a woman of color trying to be above herself, wearing diamond earrings that she doesn't own. And then, of course, there's an Arab, a mysterious Arab in native costume, enough to drive a Brexiteer to the brink of jumping off the curb. I better leave it at curb. But yeah, all of those things going on there to make sure that it strikes fear and apathy in everyone's heart. And at the center of it is the social climbing Duchess who only married Harry because she was desperate to get into that Nottingham cottage with his plastic totes, broken dog dish, and low ceilings. I mean, just look at her eyes. There's something about Meghan's eyes that says, I am going to get into that dinky, nasty 16th century cottage if it's the last thing I do. Right? Right. That is what we're supposed to believe. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did I get that wrong? Did I get that wrong? Oh. Uh-oh. Okay, now here's the thing. Oh, no. That's right. That's right. I got it. Oh, and I got the address. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're good. I will forward that later, and then we'll make it happen. Okay. Okay. Whew, I thought I made a mistake for a second there. All right, so I just had to refresh the page. No worries. All right, so I'm going to close that out for now so I can pay attention to what I'm doing over here. And congratulations, you have a copy of Spare. What did I say? LM? LM. Okay, very cool. So yeah, that is what they're trying to do, is to create this very shady thing going on with those earrings that were actually selected for her to wear. I doubt if Meghan even asked for earrings, but that is the story that we're supposed to get, is that Meghan couldn't wait to get into those royal jewels and somebody had to stop her. Now, you guys, I would not share that article with you. If you go and look for it, do it at your own peril. It is full of some of the nastiest, most negative things. So I say don't bother. Okay. And of course, don't forget Harriet Tubman. Well, our good friends in the social media have continued to share some of those indelible images of the American hero, the great emancipator herself, Harriet Tubman. As a matter of fact, Harriet Tubman has changed the entire trajectory of American history, and all whilst being one of the dumbest things in creation, one of the laziest things on 2 feet. Somehow, Harriet Tubman has made sure that not only has Meghan's ancestors found freedom, but even today, Meghan herself has found freedom. Gosh, that sounds familiar. Where did I get that from? And then if you take a look here, in order to be more relatable, you have William and Kate dressing more like someone from, I don't know, from the East End. They have decided to strip away the poshness of their lives. As a matter of fact, the person who posted this said, yo, from the palace, we down with Black people. We aren't racist, honest. That's what it says. Yo, from the palace, we down with Black people. We aren't racist, honest. That's what it says. So that was the caption that went along with this photo. And if you are the squatty that posted this, well done. I would say well done. That is like one of my new favorites. So remember, they are very much not a racist family. Do you hear me? They are very much not a racist family. And if anybody says they are, vanilla ice and icy. Okay, there you go. And just to let's see, from yesterday's, let me pull out the other images of Harriet Tubman from yesterday. And of course, this is every Black person who found out that Kate is related to the great emancipator. And I don't mean Abraham Lincoln, whoever that broad was, they said it was, that's the one. But yes, Kate Middleton's ancestor freed the slaves. There she is right there. What was her name? Harriet Martineau. So yes, Harriet Martineau, aka Harriet Middlebum, Harriet Tubman. That is who changed the course of history forever. And of course, Omid Scobie was like, we're not going to do this today. I'm pretty sure I would love to have seen Omid Scobie's face. I would have loved to have seen his face when he took a look at this right here. And let me see. We went through a little bit of history and voila. Oh, yeah. That old Martin Luther Cambridge, he don't like wait a minute, wait, I forgot the words. Oh yeah. He um oh man, I forgot what the how does the song go? He don't like oh man, I forgot the words. Oh well. But that's Martin Luther Cambridge, everybody. And Coretta Scott King. Coretta Scott King, because she's always keen in to help people. So Martin Luther Cambridge and Coretta Scott King. All right. This is a lady who wrote the article, and there is Harriet Tubman. Look at her leading her people to the promised land, following the northern light to freedom, staying along the banks of the river so that the dogs won't catch your scent as you're trying to escape the plantation. And not only did Harriet Tubman go down past the Mason-Dixon line once, she had done it several times to free her people. Yes, at first she would leave a little note, "Let my people go." And of course, there's a children's version of the story, The Life of Harriet Tubman. Um, oh, you like that, Coretta Scott King? Yes, Martin Luther Cambridge and Coretta Scott King. They're always trying to help people after they help themselves first. And then, of course, the movie. There's a movie version. Kate Middlebaum is a woman called Moses because of the way she led her people to the promised land. A woman called Moses. And that's very generous. Once you escape from servitude, one of the best ways to pay it forward is to sneak back and help others. YM Droid says he don't like his wife. He just like pulled pork sandwiches. Wait, no, he just like pigs and pork pulling. Well, okay. That old Martin Luther Cambridge, he just like pigs and pork pulling. He just like pigs and pork pulling. He likes pigs and pork pulling. That Martin Luther Cambridge. I think I like that song, YM Droid. Thank you so much for that. I love it. And thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Now, this is the great emancipator. We all know that Abraham Lincoln is the great emancipator. And the author who wrote that article, it's an insult to intelligent people to try to portray any ancestor of Kate Middleton. There were a lot of people that were anti-slavery. There were a lot of people who petitioned the Congress and presidents to end slavery. And just because she may or may not have been related to Kate, or may not have been one of them, doesn't mean that Kate is not a racist. It doesn't mean that there's any redeeming social value to anything that Kate is pursuing. It just means that there is a coincidence of history and perhaps loosely based on reality. Who knows? There is Harriet Tubman. These are some of those rare photos of Harriet later in life when, eventually she did she ever learn to read? I know she had a nice property somewhere, and I believe that her house is still standing. But yes, and I don't believe Harriet Tubman ever had any. Did she ever have any kids? I wonder. I don't recall. Thank you, V Bram, for the super sticker, and thank you for being a member and watching Royal Sussex. And of course, Kate Dolezal. Sometimes being a English rose is just not enough. So you have to dabble and cross the great racial barrier so that you can show that you're down with your peeps. So there you go. And to think, I thought that they were just very superficial people. They're a lot deeper than I ever thought. Arr, 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 arr. Trigger warning. Every time I look at this photo, I just start snarling. I don't know why, but there's just something inside of me that just starts snarling. But you guys, even though I am making light of things, it's my way of coping. The coronation is coming up, and I think that we need to throw all of our support behind the king and queen as they ascend the throne, as they're anointed with that holy oil directly from Mount Olive. And in preparation, somebody got a snapshot of Camilla. She went shopping. She actually took the state Bentley and she went shopping for some shoes for the occasion. So remember I told you, I said, don't worry, she's not going to fall. If y'all tuning in, wondering if she's going to fall on her face, well, you see, that's not likely to happen. All she needs are shoes that fit, a shoe that is capable of supporting her hooves. Well, it looks like they had a pair in her size, and so she's going to be fine. Yeah, those are going to support her, and she will be able to walk with the scepter and the crown and all the other royal regalia. All she needed was the proper shoes, right? And they're going to make sure that there is someone there to hammer them into place in time for the coronation. And of course, all of that shopping seemed to exhaust Camilla. So as you can see, she's in the back of the state Bentley, just munching on a few flowers just to get her energy up. Yeah, she's just munching on a few flowers. Oh my goodness, another one? There is another book spare, and Dr. Tobar Mate, The Myth of Normal, to donate also. These two books are gifted by Antoinette Kennedy. Okay, so, well, I already got another person, so we don't need to do that because I already got another person. So you guys don't need to try to email me. I already got another person. If you have, I'm sorry. But yeah, they're the first two people that I got. That will be the ones that get the books. So second person, are we doing two books to one person, or are we giving those two books together? But yeah, I can ask you about that at any time. But let me just take a look and make sure what I got here. How exciting, you guys. I love giving away stuff. I feel like Oprah. Okay, so I have, let me see how many people do I have here. I got that one and that one. Yes, I have plenty people already. So thank you very much. And I will make sure, just make sure your addresses are there. And I will forward that information so that you guys can receive your books. I am excited for you. I am feeling so Oprah today. Thank you, Lydia, for the update. Okay. All right. So anyway, I'm going to leave Camilla with her flowers to munch on and her orthopedic coronation shoes. Those are orthopedic. They will fit like a hand to a glove or like a hoof to a horseshoe or hoof shoe. Okay. And so take a look here. Queen Camilla defiles Diana's misery. Listen, is that a Freudian slip? Memory. So listen, folks, I saw this and I said to myself, no way, no way. And you know what? Way. It is true. that is actually Globe. Now, for you guys that are not American or may not be British, that are from other places in the world, this magazine hails out of the United States. Now, some of the people on staff are the same people who have worked for British tabloids, but Globe, the Star, the Inquirer, those are American publications. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump was accused of using his influence and money to do what they call catch and kill. So that means that if there's an embarrassing story, you would have your lawyer draw up some paperwork, and you would buy the rights to the story from, let's say, a porn star. And then, of course, once you get them to sign that paper, there's no way that she's allowed to leak that story to anybody else, because the publisher of the magazine owns the rights to it. Well, either through favoritism or because of a financial incentive, the person in question, let's say the president of the United States, Donald Trump, would be able to own the rights to it. And the publisher would take the story, put it in a safe, and leave it there for 99 years. Oh, wait, those are the wheels of the Royals. And leave it there for years. So that is what happens with these papers. But in this case, because this is an American publication, as you know, they don't show the same amount of deference to the sovereign or the royal family. And so they are running a story about how Queen Camilla defiles Diana's memory. Hear, hear. Oh, really? You guys get it in the UK? Very cool. I had no idea. All right. Very cool. Well, sad, but okay. So this is the Sunday Times. Competing headlines. The Sunday Times magazine has Queen Camilla espousing all the virtues. Wow, that sounds weird saying virtue and Camilla in the same sentence, or in the same breath, if you will. Anyway, all the virtues. Oh, that sounds weird. All of the information about Queen Camilla. So they're going to share information about the excitement surrounding the ascension to the throne by Queen Camilla. No need to remind us at Royal Family that Camilla was the married mother of two who had an affair with Prince Charles the entire time he was married to Princess Diana. Believe us, we remember. Comparison to the Game of Thrones cheapens the monarchy. Let's end it. Wow, there you go. So somebody is just like, okay, we get your point. Now let's end the hereditary monarchy. So that's interesting. You got this and you got this on the same day. Very interesting. One of them is trying to tear her down or put her in her place, and the other one is trying to lift her up, as if a team of horses could do that. But yeah, so there you go. And then, of course, I looked back at some old headlines like this one here. From Rottweiler to Queen Consort, Queen Camilla, Queen Consort, Camilla's rise from shadow of Diana. Now, that article was written back in, oh gosh, what's the date? I believe that was, it's September 9th, 2022. Wasn't that the day after the Queen died? September 9th. And then by September 19th, this article was written. Camilla was not meant to be Queen Consort. This was before we knew that they changed it. And agreed to different particular title just before second wedding, which is something that I have mentioned several times, is that it was agreed that she would be using the title Princess Consort, never Queen. But somehow, through coercion, I suspect, allegedly, they were able to get Queen Elizabeth to sign on to this idea that Camilla would be known as a consort, or as a cohort, consort. Yeah, consort. Now, what I want you to see with these old articles from last year, I'm going to let you know what jumped out. Did you guys see this? William has averted his eyes, and Harry is, well, I don't want to use the term that they use, but I'll use half of the term. Harry is staring at the situation. And all I can imagine is what he must be thinking in that moment, where his father and his mistress are standing at the St. George Chapel for the blessing ceremony. Remember, they got married in the registrar's office, and then they went over to the St. George Chapel, standing in this very same spot where later on the Sussexes would be married. And they got married. They had a blessing ceremony. So a pseudo wedding. It wasn't a wedding. They had that already. But yeah, so there you go. But Harry is not looking the other way. Harry is not avoiding the subject. Harry is deep in his thoughts right now. Harry is deep in his thoughts right now. So that kind of jumped out from the article on the right. Thought I'd share it with you. And then there's this. This is from photographs of Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles dominating, that is, British daily newspapers as they sit on display in a newsagent on February the 11th, 2005 in London, England. Once the extramarital affair became public knowledge, the media wrote scathing articles about King Charles and his mistress, which led the Princess of Wales to reveal the third party in her marriage to her father and her two sons. Oh, so I guess Diana must have told her father. Oh, that's interesting. I never knew that. But Diana must have told her father about their relationship. Interesting. Very interesting. And of course, if you fast forward to 2023, I'm not saying that there are going to be signs like that, but somebody in the Sussex squad didn't want to take any chances on waiting, so they just created some themselves. Good work, actually. I could barely tell the difference. I can barely tell the difference. But yeah, very clever, very clever. So, and so with that, oh, do I want to do that one or? But yeah, so that's oh, what the hell? I may as well. I mean, since we're here, right? So, as you know, that was Princess Diana who referred to Camilla as a Rottweiler because Diana, she said once Camilla latched her teeth into something, she just never let go. She just never let go. Said that once she latched her teeth into something, that she would just tear it to shreds. So that is where the nickname, the Rottweiler, comes from. So if you guys think that it's the Sussex squad or, you know, somebody else that coined that phrase, nope. It was actually Princess Diana herself. And of course, she used to call, Princess Michael of Kent, She referred to her as the U-boat captain. Yeah, she referred to her as the U-boat captain. Let me see. There you go. How's that? Okay. Okay, let me see here. And so this is for you, Diana. This is for you. Actually living their best lives of Sussex. This is my own feelings being expressed the only way I know how. Oh boy, what if somebody took over the public address system at the Westminster Abbey on Coronation Day and played that? Wouldn't that be awful? Oh my goodness, I would be afraid for something like that to happen. So anyway, I think I was done with Camilla. Oh, by the way, you guys, thank you yesterday. I said I usually don't order my favorite sushi because it's so expensive. But since you guys were so thoughtful yesterday, I did have sushi and it was everything that I wanted it to be. So none of it is raw. I try to avoid the raw stuff. And to me, the taste, it doesn't have enough taste to make it worth, the risk. But some of those have sweet potato. Yes, it is a sweet potato sushi. And then the other one there is mango. Those are thinly slices of mango with, I guess that's pepper, some type of jalapeno slices or whatever. I don't know, red pepper, some kind of pepper. And then you can see the tempura sushi back there on the upper right. Those two have shrimps in it and cucumber. No, yeah, cucumber, thinly sliced cucumbers and avocado. And then the very top center sushi, that is actually fried. It's actually fried. And yeah, some places fry sushi, which is so far removed from what sushi should be, but it has all the classic ingredients of the sushi and it is pretty tasty. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for celebrating the second year of Royal Sussex. And yeah, you guys have been amazing. And I really, really do appreciate it. So I want to finish off today with this. These are two different quotes, and I found this in my receipts. They never want to discuss what triggered you, just how you reacted. Huh. And then, of course, manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their disrespect. read that again. It says, manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their disrespect. Yeah, that's what manipulation is. So, love those quotes. If you want to keep those, go ahead and do a screenshot or, save them or whatever. But yeah, I like those. It says a lot. And that is just part of a greater story, part of a greater story that is playing out in real time. And with that, you guys, I am done. Thank you so much. Can't believe it's been almost 3 hours. I was kind of like drifting toward the end. Oh, you guys, it's a rainy day today. And sometimes on those rainy days, I don't know if it's the barometric pressure or what, but my focus began to wane toward the end. So I just went and got myself something to drink while that was playing. Thank you, VS. Thank you so much for being here. And you know what? I finally got rid of it, but now you have brought it back and you're making it rain, 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 rain on me. Yes, you're making it rain, 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 rain on me. See, I was cured until I just saw Miss VS up there. And now that song is back in my head. And you're making it rain, 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 rain on me. How do you get rid of it? You guys, I have to tell you, there was an episode of Will and Grace where, do you guys remember that song, 1877 Cars for Kids, KARS, Cars for Kids, 1877 Cars for Kids, donate your car today. And that song kind of gets stuck in your head, right? Well, they had a song called Trucks for Tots. Trucks for Tots, Trucks for Tots. And anyway, Karen and what's his name? Karen and Jack, they could not stop singing that song. It was the worst thing that has happened to anybody since you're making it rain, 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 rain on me. Oh, man. So, yeah, they couldn't use the other song, so they came up with a parody, Truck for Tots. That was the funniest. There was a few of those Will and Grace episodes that I thought were hilarious. So, yeah, that one, I watched it several times because I was so tickled by it. So, again, as per usual, thank you to the Mod Squad for keeping this a safe space. As a matter of fact, just today, the Mod Squad had to regulate on some subversive that was making things difficult. Someone who was pretending to be something that they were not. And occasionally we get those, but by and large, this is pretty much a safe space, and I am very appreciative of it. And of course, glad for the community. So it's a collective effort. And so with that, I will be looking at some last comments. And of course, well, we always celebrate our queens because I tell you, the relationship with one's parents is very important, but it's something about the mothers that can really shape a child's future. So thank you so much to our queens for making that future that is incredibly bright. And in spite of all that has been thrown at them, the Sussexes are still thriving, right? They're still thriving. And Meghan has, what Meghan has done this week was so powerful because the message that comes from that someone literally turned down the King of England and chose to reclaim their power, right? That cannot be underestimated. And so, you guys, please, that was part of the conversation today on the Lady Sussex, which I think we had to link up earlier, but that was very powerful, very powerful. Don't underestimate that gesture. It was not casual, it was political, it was personal, it was a whole lot of things involved with that. The Sussexes have become part of the talking points used by the right wing in this cultural war that we find ourselves in. And so it's not just the issue of what's going on with the royal family. It's not just a matter of the tabloid press. But the other thing that is happening with the Sussexes is that there's a cultural war. And if you're on the wrong side of it at any given time, if you're on the wrong side of it, actually, I shouldn't say the wrong side, but if you're found to be on the wrong side, if people believe you're on the wrong side, they'll come after you. It's not just the conservatives coming after the liberals, but likewise, there's a lot of people that are being unnecessarily and capriciously canceled without good cause. So, hey, B10 Pal, didn't see you here. Duchess Meghan is done with the firm and those in the British monarchy who have viciously attacked her. She's done. Done, done, done. Just like me, done. I'm done today. Let me see. Okay. Joya Moore says, sometimes my heart goes out to Doria. Her only child getting all those threats coming from rodents, royal family. Yeah. It's upsetting. It's very upsetting. Yeah, I saw a video one time where I actually got really upset when I saw it because Doria was in her truck and people were approaching her, photographers and stuff, and she had let down the window, and I realized that I had never heard her voice before, and she looked so small and so fragile in that big SUV, which was kind of like a metaphor for all of these people descending on her, that I really got emotional. It upset me because, it's just like you could see your own mom being set upon by these pack of photographers. And that just really upset me. That really, really upset me. I was researching for a video that I was making. And as I was looking around, I had found that because I was like, oh, there got to be some more photos of Doria that I could use. And when I saw that, and when I saw them talking to her, my throat tightened up. That's how upset I was. I did not like it. And so I could only imagine for Meghan how she must have felt for her mother. And then, of course, Harry trying to, assure both Meghan and her mother that he would do everything he could to keep them safe. So that's a lot. You got Doria wanting her daughter to be safe, and I'm sure Harry too. You got Harry feeling responsible for both women because, that is something that is a part of his DNA is defending the women in his life. And then, of course, you have Meghan wanting him to be safe and more importantly, at that time, I'm sure wanting her mom to be safe. And so there's all this going on. And then, of course, Harry can't be around certain people because that would make them unsafe. And then eventually, Meghan, who had, lived a life of freedom, all of a sudden she had to avoid certain situations and certain people, and because she wanted to keep them safe. So, wow, what a lot. What a lot. Just so that somebody could get a photo or try to create some type of newsworthy event out of somebody walking across the street or entering the supermarket or something. So there you go. All right. I see people are drifting out of here and I'm done. So let me see. Meghan's actions offends the derangers, including some in the U.S., including the two witches, Owens and McCain, had to delete their shorts appearing on my feed. Very good, Marjorie. Keep doing that. Keep doing that. Keep hitting not interested. Make sure if you snap on them that you delete them. And, of course, not interested. And eventually you won't see them anymore. I don't see a lot of the trolls. The only time I see some of the ones that are on the YouTube, I see them like on the Twitter. They may pop up on the Twitter, through somebody else's tweet or something. But other than that, I don't see a lot of them, and I am grateful for that. And you're making it rain, 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 rain on me, 'cause it's making it rain, rain. Ah, that song, that blessed song. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to go on VS one day, and maybe if I leave a donation, maybe I'll leave the song behind. I'm going to have to try that. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Maybe if I drop $10 on there, the song, I will cure myself of the song. I'm going to try it anyway. 'Cause you're making it rain, 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 rain on me. Okay. So with that, you guys, I am done, and I will see you all next time. As always, love you guys. Thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex, and I am going to look for a last word today, which of course is, now this is very, very original. I love it. Bye, all. Okay, that's it. Now I feel like we are united. Bye, all. Bye. Okay. Thank you, B10. Thank you so much for being here. And you're making it rain, 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 rain on me. Oh, I can't help it. Okay, so I'm going to cue Ginger Avenger, and I will see you all tomorrow. Oh, don't forget, you guys. Oh, never mind. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Okay, see ya.
I love Prince Harry, and Prince Harry should be king. He should be king. Prince Harry, not William. William and all of them in there. Camilla is the wicked witch of the devil himself, because she is part of why Princess Diana is not here. I do not like them. I am from the islands, and we don't need them in the Caribbean. Get lost. Demolish the monarchy. This is 2023, okay? And I will support Harry 100%. I do feel for him. Yes, I do. And everything in the book is the truth. And Charles is the monster, not Harry. Harry is no monster, not Meghan. He is bringing the story out right now. They are evil people. They are not nice. Behind the wall, we all are one human being, and behind that wall there are no difference with me and you and any other Brits. Give the people back the money. They are just welfare recipients living off the taxpayers of the British people, and the British people are stupid supporting that nonsense monarchy. It is nothing. It's just a title. It means nothing, a title. I'm angry at them.